Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. So we're going to be talking about Russia in this video, and we have news coming out that Russia is going to be ramping up some tactical nuclear weapons drills near the Ukrainian border. Now this is huge news because I reported this just a few weeks ago that Russia announced that they were going to begin tactical nuke drills very soon, and they had not announced up until now that they were going to begin doing this. So what you're seeing here on this video was released from the Russian Defense Ministry, showcasing here that they're setting up these nuclear drills, practicing what they're going to be doing here if they were to come under attack and how they would defend themselves. So they're doing these right near the Ukrainian border. Okay, this is pretty huge. And we're going to be talking more about this. So this is just some video footage here for you, showing some of the drills that are taking place and what they're doing to prepare if they were to engage in some type of war against NATO. Okay, now I say NATO because we also have Vladimir Putin coming out as well and accusing the West multiple times, okay, NATO members of being involved. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has come out many times too and said that the West is directly involved in confrontation with Russia. So this is nuclear weapons drills that are taking place to protect themselves from NATO. Okay, has nothing to do with Ukraine. This is primarily NATO, and we know that NATO's been getting increasingly involved more and more in this war. And the big thing I think that initiated these tactical nuclear weapons drills recently was the announcement coming from the West. Primarily, it was David Cameron. Okay, David Cameron, the foreign secretary from the UK, he came out recently and told Ukraine that it was okay for them to strike Russian territory with British supplied Storm Shadow missiles or whatever weaponry they were giving them. So obviously that would be huge for Russia to allow that. Would they allow that? I don't think so. But obviously this is a proxy war that Ukraine is fighting for the West against Russia, and they're being given the weapons to do so. So I want to talk some more about this. Let's go ahead and get right into this. We got a report here on Politico. It says Putin starts tactical nuke drills near Ukraine. Russia amps up nuclear threat. It says here, Russia on Tuesday announced it started tactical nuclear weapons exercises near Ukraine as Moscow again accused the West of being provocative. The Kremlin's southern military district troops are practicing combat training tasks of obtaining special ammunition for the Iskander operational tactical missile system, equipping launch vehicles with them and covertly advancing to the designated position area in preparation for missile launches, Russia's defense ministry said in a statement Tuesday afternoon. Russian President Vladimir Putin has made veiled nuclear threats toward the West for years, since he began a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, leaving tens of thousands of people dead and towns and cities in ruins. Western allies have supported Ukraine with military equipment to help Kyiv fend off Putin's aggression. Military personnel involved in the exercise practice equipping aviation weapons with special warheads, including the Kinzhal aeroballistic hypersonic missiles, and flying into designated patrol areas, the Kremlin added. Unlike strategic nuclear weapons, which are designed to destroy entire cities, the goal of tactical nuclear weapons is to be used on the battlefield. So, yeah, that's something huge if you think about that. So, obviously, Russia's preparing to fight against NATO. Okay, they're not. They obviously are preparing for a nuclear war as well, using what are called strategic nuclear weapons, like it was talking about here, designed to destroy entire cities. They're also preparing for an engagement with NATO on the ground, okay, against NATO soldiers, and they're prepping tactical nuclear weapons to be used against NATO on the ground. So earlier this month, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov accused French President Emmanuel Macron and British representatives of provoking Russia's nuclear escalation after UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron said during a trip to Kyiv that Ukraine could strike Russia with British weapons, while Macron has floated the possibility of sending Western troops to fight Ukraine. So see, just like I was talking about, the UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron, I did a video on this just recently in the last couple weeks, where he flew to Kyiv and told Volodymyr Zelensky that if they wanted to strike inside of Ukraine using British Storm Shadow missiles or whatever weaponry they give them, they could do so. But obviously, it would most likely be the Storm Shadow missiles because they have the range, right? So, yeah, like I was saying, this is huge escalation here, and we haven't heard anything like this until out of nowhere for the most part when David Cameron came out and told the Ukraine basically that they can do this if they want to. They can strike Russian territory. So the Kremlin's nuclear test aims to ensure the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the Russian state in response to provocative statements and threats of individual Western officials, the Russian Defense Ministry concluded. So I also want to note here too is that we had some reports that I did probably a month or two ago talking about the fact that there were British troops on the ground in Ukraine firing these Storm Shadow missiles. I think it was when I did a video on there was a German phone call that was leaked between several top military officials in Germany, and Russia somehow got a hold of that phone call and put it out on Russian state media. I think it was on like RT or something like that. It basically got announced to the entire world during this phone call that British troops were already on the ground. There were several other countries involved in Ukraine that are already there that many people may not even be aware of. And they're there firing these Storm Shadow missiles at targets inside of Crimea. We saw a lot of attacks inside of Crimea, but we have yet to see any attacks from what I know of inside of Russia with these British Storm Shadow missiles. So obviously they're preparing for that. And they're telling the West and saying, if you guys use your British Storm Shadow missiles and target us, that's why we've got these tactical nukes set up. That's what I believe that they're doing here. This is more of a message to tell the West that, hey, we will not put up with attacks inside of our own territory. Now, it's interesting because we've seen countless and countless drone attacks, some missile attacks as well inside of Russia. And Russia, for the most part, hasn't really done anything about it, okay? They've had dozens and dozens of their oil depots that have been either destroyed or at least damaged or heavily damaged. And Russia hasn't really responded to that yet, which I think is interesting. If they're not okay with that, then why are they not responding to the drone attacks? Apparently, it's not as big of an issue to them, which at the same time, it kind of should be a big issue because it affects their economy and it affects their ability to fight this war if they can't produce oil and, ship it around the world to make money. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty big news here that Russia's coming out and announcing these tactical nuclear weapons drills. Again, here's some video footage for you to showcase this. Has been put out by the Russian Defense Ministry. So let me know what you think down below regarding this. This is obviously a little scary, I have to admit. But at the same time, Russia's preparing for war against NATO, and I've been talking about this for months now, that at some point, I think NATO will get involved here. There's a very big possibility, at least. Will it happen? We don't know for sure. But there is a big possibility that NATO could get involved. And if they do, this is going to lead to a major, major war, not only in Ukraine, but throughout Eastern Europe. So let me know what you think down below. Share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions down in the comment section. That's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.